Right, let's talk about the skipper then. TNT Sports had Virgil Van Dijk as man of the match in the 1-0 win over Palace. I have thoroughly enjoyed Van Dijk's performances all of last season, and this season he's continued. What I like most about it is that he maintains that cool aura. He maintains that sense of like confidence, and it makes you feel confident watching him do it. But I think he's testing himself. And like 2 years ago, people went at him. Yeah. Like Alexander Mitrovic, first game of the season against Fulham, goes at him, lead and legs, gets a penalty, and from then it almost felt like Van Dijk was like the crown had slipped, the order had faded, and people were going, we can get at Van Dijk. Last year I thought was about rebuilding, and this year's about maintaining. And actually, there's it's not even from this game, but I spoke to you about it earlier. There's a moment late on midweek against Bologna where they race away down that like their right hand side, our left hand side, and Van Dijk goes, no mate. Pause the afterburners on, goes and gets there. And in reality, he probably could have ran less fast and gone and covered the centre half area. But he goes, I can get this, and I'm going to show you can get it. I'm going to demoralise you. And this was that performance today all over for Van Dijk. He was like, no one's getting anything from me all game long. He was first ever in the air. He was aggressive off front foot when he needed to be. He swept in behind when he needed to be. It was a wonderful defensive performance.
And I think that is potentially a bad call from the Crystal Palace manager to not start Mateta up there, to kind of give a little bit more physicality and try and ask different questions, as you said there, Mitrovic sticking it on Van Dijk and getting a little bit of joy out of it at the time a couple of seasons ago. And Nketiah is just not that profile of striker. He's really not. He wants to be able to run in behind if there's going to be a little bit of space to expose, and you kind of see that with the offside opportunity. That's where he was, wanting to be jelly on the spot, or albeit he's 5 yards ahead of play, but
a bit too keen to
just a little bit too keen, but that's his game, and you're still going to struggle to beat Van Dijk in a foot race if that's going to be how you want to try and get past the threat that we've got, or defensive solidity that we've got. And then on top of that, you're not going to be able to impose yourself. You're not going to be going to first for those headers. You're not going to be winning your duels, the ground duels. He's just going to eat them up. He is literally just going to pocket you and make you feel like a lesser of a man as a result because of it, which is really demoralising in itself. But to the point that you made there, I'd go one step further. He's taken the Saliba, Gabriel compliments personally. How best partnerships in the world. Saliba's the best defender in the league. I feel like he's genuinely like, who the fuck are these? Like,
well, how many of these challenges has he seen off? There were people going.
Harry Maguire at one point.
Jesus, but people. Yeah, I mean. Laporte was the one. Everyone's going, Laporte's better than Van Dijk. Laporte's better than Van Dijk. And like, is he playing in the Pro League now? Like, you know what I mean? It's like.
Chelsea, they've had a couple in the Chelsea squad.
Saliba is sensational, and Gabriel's been really, really good, by the way. But Saliba is something else, and he is, I think, a genuine heir apparent to like what comes next. He's the next one in line.
But I don't even think he'll be in the Premier League long enough to get that crown.
Every chance he's playing at Real Madrid next season. That's a reality of it. But this is the thing. It still doesn't matter. Saliba can be brilliant, but he's not better than Van Dijk. Van Dijk is still right there at the tip top. And that's my point. Van Dijk proved it, climbed the mountain, got to the top and found that he was the only one there.
Yeah.
And then, okay, maybe standards slipped, and you look forgivable. He had a cruciate knee injury and managed to get himself back, came back brilliantly, and then he himself said, I was overplayed, I was overcompensating, he wasn't right at his best. He's right back there now. He's wearing that armband. He's proud to wear it. He's leading the team magnificently. He's leading by example. But that was that today. It's a 1-0 win against Crystal Palace, and I feel maybe people might feel like I'm being a bit too much with my praise for him there. But look at how he plays. He's there for absolutely everything. I've got his heat map, and it's
looks like a goat.
It might as well look like one. It's if I can describe it, it's from the edge of the 18-yard box to the centre circle, left side is just Van Dijk territory. Owns that space completely and utterly, and that's what I'm talking about. He's not resting on his laurels. He's not going, it's Eddie Nketiah, so he's going to want to try and get him beyond. I'm just going to sit on the edge. I'm going to camp on the edge of my area. He's getting the ball. He's running. He's carrying the ball forward. He's winning absolutely everything. In that zone, that rectangle is all Van Dijk. Nothing is getting past him there.
And a couple of the crossfield switches as well. I think they deserve a mention because it really, again, Salah was in the first half, particularly the out ball in that sense. We was building quite a lot on the left-hand side, but if we ever needed an out ball, Virgil was happy to pull that trigger. You mentioned it in live comms, just a couple of the balls that he just plucked out of nowhere.
The Salah chance?
Yeah.
We can't see where Salah is because it's not on the coverage because of the way the camera is. And you think, what are we going to do here? And he just picks this pass out and you're just like...
How?
I don't know.
How did you see that? The vision for you to see that
I've got no
from
idea.
how deep that you're playing, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think he's playing at that level. And again, two things really for me. The clean sheet, there's a level of pride again. Because we've started so well in them, I think it's become a bit of a talking point. Remember when Robbo and Trent had that little competition between themselves who can get the most assists?
Yeah.
That didn't happen at the start of the season where they're like, I'm going to get more assists than you. It was like, actually over a couple of weeks, hang on a minute, your numbers are looking good, my numbers are looking good. Right, let's make something of this now and let's get like really behind this as an extra little incentive. I think the same can be said with the amount of the goals we've conceded being 2, the amount of clean sheets that we've kept as a result. I think he and the back line have really set about this task now of that's a real prideful thing, because if we do keep these clean sheets, we're going to win more games than we're going to lose or draw by just the default of keeping a clean sheet against these teams, because we spoke about where Salah picks up his positions and where he gets his goals. You reflood that opportunity to Salah, he's going to score sooner rather than later. Diaz is in fine form, but it all starts from that foundation of us keeping a clean sheet. And then second to that, the partner who we'll go on to talk to in a moment in Canate, being back to his best, being fit, being physical, and now they're kind of gelling in this new partnership, which has elevated the defensive line as well to probably the best that we've had since, we might have won the league really a couple of years ago now, it feels. And it's mad to say that someone of Virgil van Dijk's, not even credentials, because the credentials are there, but his level has been thrown into question. But again, he just puts it out on the pitch and just says, you know what, I'll deal with that.
He's taking it personally, and that should. He should, while he's got the ability to take it personally, because some footballers are weighing in powers and they never get it back.
Yeah.
And
but someone said, shots fired, and he's went, sound. I'll fire back, I've still got all the ammo.
Matrixing the shit out of that, just dodging it left, right and centre and then coming back at you. Well, I want to look at the stats in a sec, but just in terms of his overall ratings, then SofaScore had him as a 7.9, who scored a 7.8, and the same from FOTMob as well. So yeah, just brilliant across the board there, really. None of them had him as man of the match. Do you agree with the man of the match award for Van Dijk?
Yes, because of the 90-minute performance. Yeah. If I'm being honest with you, just because of the 90-minute performance. If you'd have said at half-time he was man of the match, he probably wouldn't have been in that conversation. But the way that the game started to go away, not away from Liverpool, but it wasn't going Liverpool's way in terms of we've been able to assert our dominance. We went and got the second goal. We've killed off the game. And all of a sudden your defenders have got nothing to do apart from knocking about between themselves at the back for 10, 15 minutes. It wasn't that game. It became a defender's game. It became your defence is going to win you this as opposed to your strikers, which became very evident by the amount of sitters that we then went on to miss. Yeah. So for me to drag that in your side for the 90 minutes and keep that level of calm and composure, I think it is probably fair that he comes away with, or one of the defenders should have come away with man of the match at that point for me.
Yeah. I agree, and it's one of them where I think you're dead right. It's funny how that can happen, because these are cold, hard numbers. They care not for the emotion of the football. But I agree that given the game state and how imperious he was defensively, and how ultimately Liverpool only win that 1-0. So anything that gets past us, that's 2 points dropped or more. So I'm in on Van Dijk being it. I'll be honest, I thought Canate was brilliant as well. It was just weird that I said to you, there was a point in the game where I felt like Van Dijk was doing more defending. By the stats,
got his hands dirty, didn't he?
But by the stats, actually, they were both doing this. They both been in the same amount of duels, aerial and defensively. So actually, they've both done as much defensively as each other. And Canate had actually, I think, had won a greater percentage of his things. And then immediately another long ball went up and Van Dijk just got up, bang, boom, and headed away. But that continued throughout the game. He needed to be that leader at the back for us. So yeah, I agree with him. I think if we'd won, if Jaros hadn't come on and we'd won that 1-0, I'm not certain the game would have gone that way. Yeah. Therefore, I'm not certain I would have been as leaning towards Van Dijk. I might have been leaning more towards Jota or one of the midfielders or one of the attackers. But actually, I'm here for it, to be honest, because I think Van Dijk does deserve some more. Just in terms of some of the headline stats from it, 2 clearances on the night. This doesn't feel right to me. 1 ground duel, 1-1, but that's 100% regardless. 5 of 7 aerial duels, 1. He had 116 touches of the ball, 92% passing accuracy. That's 99 out of 108, which is very good when you consider some of the passes he did play. Very, very beautiful passes. 1 key pass, 1 big chance created.
That's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then 1-on-1 is his dribble as well. Like that is as complete a centre-back performance as you're likely to get in all of that. So yeah, very, very pleasing stuff from him.